Very quick one. Big up to everyone. So let's talk about football. But before then, check Intercorp right there. If you own a ship and you want a lot of goose, fruits, everything that you want, Intercorp is the best place. Pick the number on the screen and get more information. I'm going to talk about Nico Williams, Ghana Black Queens match yesterday, and African Cup of Nations. Very interesting. I'm going to share with you right here. 24 teams qualify for African Cup of Nations. And these 24, 12 teams have won the African Cup of Nations already. 12 teams have never won the African Cup of Nations, which I'm going to share with you right here. Very interesting one. So, are we going to see a new champion coming on next year, or we're going to see the teams that already win the African Cup of Nations going to win it again? This is all right here. Very interesting one. So get some water and let me share you all this right here on the Awini Unity platform. So straight to the point. Yesterday, African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Ghana Black Queens won their game yesterday against the Rwanda side by 5-0 in Accra. In the first match, Black Queens went to Rwanda to beat them there by 7-0, and the aggregate was 12. Okay, that is yesterday's game. And the remaining only one game to go for them to qualify for the tournament proper, which coming on November. They're going to play the Black Queens. They're going to play against Namibia, home and away. So that is a very quick one. Now let's move to Nico Williams. You know, Nico Williams' junior brother is Nico Williams, and Nico Williams plays football for the Ghana national team, and Nico Williams decided to play for the Spanish national team. Okay, so the latest I have for you, Nico Williams will be moving to Real Madrid coming January. Okay, that is the good news coming from Nico Williams. Yes, Nico Williams will be moving to Real Madrid coming on January if nothing changed from now. Okay, and it is a good news. I always say anybody that is Ghanaian descent and decide to play their football anywhere, we need to support them and we need to always wish them the best. We've seen a lot of Ghanaian players that do not play for Black Stars, but they end up their career. They went back to Ghana, put a lot of investment and so many things with it. Is a good thing. I can name a lot of them. Mercedes Ahi, Boateng, a lot of them. Okay, I'm not talking about Kevin Prince Boateng. We have 2 Boateng in Germany. Okay, so that is the latest coming from Nico Williams camp. Okay, and it's a great news. I cannot wait to see him in Real Madrid, Los Blancos, camiseta. So now let's move to African Cup of Nations. 24 teams qualify going to the African Cup of Nations, which I already give you all these teams here. But my focus here is to give you the teams that already won the African Cup of Nations and the teams that never win the African Cup of Nations, so that you will see everything very clear. So starting from the host nation, Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire, they have appeared in the African Cup of Nations tournament 25 times and they won it twice. That is Cote d'Ivoire, and they are the team countries going to host the African Cup of Nations. They appeared the tournament 25 times and they won it twice. Moving to Ghana. The Ghana national team is going to the tournament and they have appeared 23 times in the African Cup of Nations and they won the African Cup 4 times. Okay, 4 times. Are they going to win it again? Time will tell. The Cameroon national team are going to the African Cup of Nations. They have been there 20 times and they won the African Cup of Nations tournament 5 times. Moving to Nigeria. The Nigerian national team have appeared the African Cup of Nations 19 times and they won the African Cup of Nations tournament 3 times. Are they going to add it to 4th? Time will tell. Let's move front. The Egypt national team have appeared the African Cup of Nations 25 times and they have won the African Cup of Nations trophy 7 times. They are the only team in Africa have the highest trophy when it comes to the African Cup of Nations, and they won it and triple. Okay, so the Egypt national team, it is not just a small team. Moving on to Algeria national team. The Algeria national team, they appeared the African Cup of Nations 12 times, and they won it twice. Are they going to add it this time around or not? Time will tell. So let's move quickly. The Tunisian national team have appeared the African Cup of Nations tournament 20 times, and they won the tournament only once. Are they going to win it this time around again or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. The Senegalese national team appeared the African Cup of Nations 16 times, and they won it only once. And they are the current team that hold the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to defend the African Cup of Nations or not? Time will tell when we get there. So let's move on. The Morocco national team is going to the African Cup of Nations, and they have appeared the African Cup of Nations 18 times, and they won the African Cup of Nations only once. Are they going to win it for the second time or not? Time will tell when we get there. Let's move on. The Zambia, the Tipulupulu boys appear the African Cup of Nations 14 times, and they have won the African Cup of Nations only once. And are they going to win it for the second time or not? Time will tell. You and I cannot decide. So let's move on. Guinea-Bissau, the Guinea-Bissau national team going to the African Cup of Nations, and they have been the African Cup of Nations 3 times. Are they going, and they have never won the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. Cape Verde, the Cape Verde national team they are going to the African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire as well, and they have been in the African Cup of Nations. They appear only 3 times. They have never won the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. The Mali national team are going to African Cup of Nations, and they have appeared the African Cup of Nations 12 times, and they have never win the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to surprise a lot of people coming back next year or not? Time will tell. You and I cannot decide. We can only sit down and watch and wait for the right time. So let's move on. Let's move on. The Burkinabe national team, that is the Burkina Faso, the national team is going to the African Cup of Nations, and they have appeared the African Cup of Nations 12 times. They have never win the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. South Africa national team is going to the tournament in Cote d'Ivoire, and they have appeared the African Cup of Nations 10 times, and they won the African Cup of Nations only once. Are they going to win it for their second time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. Guinea. This is Guinea. Guinea national team is going to the African Cup of Nations, and they have appeared in the African Cup of Nations 14 times. They have never win the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. Guinea Equatoria or Equatorial Guinea. They are going to the African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire, and they have appeared the African Cup of Nations 3 times. They have never win the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. Madagascar national team qualified. They are going to the tournament in Cote d'Ivoire, and they have appeared in the African Cup of Nations 4 times. They have never win the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? It is only God will tell. So let's wait and see. Tanzania have been returning to the African Cup of Nations only their second time in the African Cup of Nations. So Tanzania national team, they have never win the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to surprise a lot of people winning the African Cup of Nations for the first time or not? Time will tell. Okay, so let's move on. The Gambia national team are going for the African Cup of Nations. They've already been there for the first time, and this is their second time they are going to the African Cup of Nations. So are they going to win it for the first time or not? They have never won the African Cup of Nations. Okay, so let's move on. Namibia. The Namibia national team have qualified for the African Cup of Nations. They have never win the African Cup of Nations, and they have been there for 3 times, and they are going for the 4th time. So are they going to win the tournament for the first time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on to Angola. Angola national team have been in the African Cup of Nations 8 times, and they have never won the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? Time will tell. You and I cannot decide. So let's move on. Mauritania national team have been in the African Cup of Nations twice, and they are going for the 3rd time. They have never won the African Cup of Nations. Are they going to win it for the first time or not? Time will tell. Let's move on. The DR Congo. The Congolese national team qualified for the African Cup of Nations, and they have been 9 team appearances in the African Cup of Nations, and they won the African Cup of Nations twice. Are they going to win it 3rd time or not? Time will tell. So, like I said, that is the African Cup of Nations. The teams now, you know some of the teams. 24 teams are going to the tournament. 12 teams, they won the African Cup of Nations, and 12 teams, they have never win the African Cup of Nations. So are we going to see a new champion coming next year? The tournament, they still call it 20 African Cup of Nations 2023, but the tournament is going to take place in January. The reason why is the tournament is supposed to be taking place this year, but when the corona variant happened before, a lot of things changed, so therefore they have to postpone it to 2024 January. So they still call it African Cup of Nations 2023. Okay, so that is what I have for you. And when you look at some of the African teams, you look at you can see the teams let's say many years ago, even back 2005, when you see the players, you can see like, yes, this is a man. So when you are going to face a team, you can see that TikTok. But now young boys. If you check many years ago, African Cup of Nations. So guys, next week, some of the national team best performance for some years. Okay, so thank you so much for always tuning up to our Awini Unity platform. I do really appreciate you.